Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. So this is going to be a love and spirituality reading for the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And as always, I will be doing an extended video, so I'll leave the link to that in the description box down below. All right, so we're going to jump right into it. First, I'm going to give you some channeled messages that I received while I was meditating. So while I was meditating, I saw the star card. I saw, okay, how do I word this without causing panic? I heard the word aneurysm, and don't panic. I'll get into what it means because I don't want anybody to think that I'm telling them they're gonna have a stroke or like a heart attack or something. I'll get into it. Trust me, it's not as serious or terrible as it sounds. And then the next thing I saw was a blue car that was like speeding down the street. So I'm going to jump into what each symbol meant, or what came to me intuitively about each symbol. So the star card in tarot represents healing. So it's a good thing. It's a positive thing that that's the first thing that came out, because some of you are stepping into a healing energy in the month of March, especially those of you who have been undergoing a lot of stress. And that's where the word aneurysm came in at. Sometimes my guides give me words so that I can go and look them up, and then usually I'll be guided to what messages they're trying to tell me through the search that I do. So from aneurysm, what I got from that was stress. Now, when a couple of weeks I was having an issue with my head, like I was having really bad headaches and things of that sort. So I went to a medium to figure out what was going on, and the medium, who is amazing by the way, I'll leave her Twitter handle down below in the description box, but the medium basically told me that because I was under so much stress that there was like a constriction of the blood flow to my brain, and that's where the headache was coming from. And then I went to a doctor, I went to the hospital, and I went to urgent care, so I went to multiple places, and they confirmed pretty much that there was an issue with my heart, there was an issue with the blood flow to my head. So yeah, and again, this medium, amazing. I'll leave the link to her Twitter down below. But basically that's the message that I'm getting for some of you. Some of you are going through something very similar, like you're under so much stress that it's causing you some sort of physical pain, like a headache or like really bad chest pains. I know that I was feeling the stress like radiating through my arms because of the amount of like anxiety, and it was like it kind of felt like pins and needles, you know, like when you sit on your foot for too long and it falls asleep, and while it's waking up, it's like that pins and needles feeling. That's what I was feeling in my upper arms from all of the anxiety and all of the stress. So that's what I was picking up for some of you, that you're going through something very similar. And the way to combat this is that you really have to get your stress under control. So you're needing to remove anything from your life that causes you a lot of stress. I was hearing that even scary movies, like the month of March may be like a time where you don't want to watch anything that, like scary movies, anything that gets your heart rate up, you may want to stay clear from in the month of March, because your body really needs to recover. Yeah, so stress needs to be put down. Also, what was coming to me intuitively was my breakup in what year was that? 2014. So some of you could be having a repeat cycle that's happening from 2014. It's happening right now, and you're being asked to look back at how you handled that situation and how you recover from it, and use some of the tactics that you use to recover from that, to recover from whatever you're going through right now. So for example, in 2014, I was going through a breakup with a narcissist, and I was engaged to him for a couple years. I was with him for a total of 4 years. So, you know, a lot of stress and a lot of trauma. And when we broke up, my hair was falling out. Well, while we were together, my hair was falling out. And now thinking back on it, it all makes sense, because the stress was causing a constriction of blood flow. So the blood was not flowing to my head properly, so it was actually causing my hair to fall out. And back then I had no knowledge of spirituality. I didn't channel messages and things like that, or at least I wasn't doing it consciously, but I was getting intuitive downloads that I didn't know, you know, was my guides, my higher self. I was getting intuitive downloads back then to do head massages. So I remember I started doing head massages just intuitively, and I started doing like yoga poses where I was like, you know, turned upside down and like, you know, head facing down and things of that sort. And I was doing it all based on intuition. I had no clue that there was a correlation between my hair falling out and the stress from the narcissist. Well, I knew he was the cause of it, but I didn't know that it was because of the constriction of blood flow. So I remember doing my head massages and neck massages, like the back of my neck I would massage, and like my upper shoulders. So some of you maybe need to do that if you are feeling a lot of stress and pain, especially in your neck area. Of course, go and get checked out by a professional. I'm not a doctor, but you know, y'all know what I'm trying to say. So massage to the back of the neck, massage to the scalp and the head as much as you can. I was drinking a lot of water, a whole lot of water, because my physical health, my mental health was just, it deteriorated. So I needed to basically repair my body. So drinking a lot of water. I remember I incorporated green juice and green smoothies into my diet, like slowly but surely. Like every morning I would just introduce green juice and things of that sort. So I'm telling all of you this for those of you who are going through something very extremely stressful, or you've been through something stressful and you need to repair your body. You're needing to possibly look at blood circulation, getting massages, cleaning up your diet and things of that sort for the month of March. And if that doesn't really apply to you, or if that specific advice doesn't apply to you, just think back to 2014 and how you got through a specific situation, and then use that method, or try to replicate that method to get through this situation. I also was hearing that for some of you, you may have been dependent on someone in 2014. And so if you're going through something right now, it could be triggering because you don't want to be dependent on anyone again. But I'm hearing that it's okay for you to accept help at this time. It's not the same as when you were dependent on whoever back then. Like, let's say that you have abusive parents and you were dependent on them in 2014, and now you're going through a hard time and you feel like you are dependent again, or you need help again. It's okay to accept help. Like sometimes your pride can cause you to not want to accept that help, because you think back to when you were dependent on people and you don't want to go back there. Especially for earth signs, and I'm a Taurus with a Taurus rising, with a Capricorn stellium, so I know all too well we don't like to depend on people. Once we become like free of dependency, we hate going back to that, but sometimes you have to. Like sometimes you need the help, so accept the help. Don't let your pride or your ego stop you from getting the help that you need. What else? Oh, the blue car. This is a very long introduction, I'm sorry. The blue car. The blue car going fast to me was basically like full speed ahead. Like your healing is going to start to accelerate, especially if you felt stagnant for a long time, or like you had a hard time healing. I also was seeing that the blue car was going to the doctor. So for some of you, that's a direct message for you to go get checked out by a doctor, go get some sort of like help. And make sure you do it before it becomes urgent. Like a lot of us just wait until things become so urgent that we have to go seek help. Make sure you're doing it, like being proactive, like go and seek out the help before things get too bad. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to instill fear in anyone. I'm not saying that things are going to get bad, hurry up to the doctor. I'm just saying, like with anything in life, it's important to be proactive, because the prevention is always better, or almost always easier than finding the cure or curing yourself, you see. Also, the blue car though, to me is representing the throat chakra. So fast moving communication. Make sure that you are watching your words, especially words that will end up just causing you stress later. Be very careful. It's like, what's that saying? Don't write any checks that your ass can't cash, or don't let your mouth write any checks that your ass can't cash. So basically just really watching your words, watching what you say. Make sure it's not going to cause you any stress later on, or any anxiety later on. Like thinking before you speak. Even if someone is speaking harshly to you, still think about how you respond, because it's like you might get satisfaction from responding in a harsh way in the moment, but then later on you feel bad about it, or later on you have to face the consequences of it, and I've had this happen far too many times. I have an air sign Mercury in my chart, Aquarius Mercury, so yeah, sometimes my mouth does write checks in my ass cannot cash, and it's not fun having to clean it up afterwards, and it's very stressful. So just try to keep your anxiety down as much as you can by watching your words and watching the way you are communicating with people. All right, that was extremely long. We're gonna dive into your love and spirituality messages. The first two cards that came out are the Five of Swords and also Experiencing card in the reverse. All right, so this Five of Swords talks about ego and pride, and this is your overall energy. Again, be very careful in the month of March about your ego and your pride. You need to kind of pick and choose where your ego would be appropriately expressed. So when you need help and you are in dire need of help, it's not the time for your ego and your pride to refuse that help. No matter how uncomfortable it may be, like if you need help, you need to accept it, because first of all, the universe sometimes is lending you a helping hand through certain people. So your pride and your ego could actually push away that universal help that is coming to you. Like you might see it as like, man, I don't want to fall back into this trap of like being dependent on anyone, or I don't want to give anyone the upper hand so that they'll be able to say that they helped me. But you're literally pushing away like what the universe has sent to help you. So just be very mindful and be very careful of that in the month of March. With the Five of Swords also, this talks about quarrels between loved ones, like trying to get the upper hand, trying to defeat the other. Be very careful of this energy. Of course, don't do anything or say anything that you would end up, regretting, especially when it comes to the people that you care about. I know that we are still in the Mercury retrograde, so communication is kind of just kind of off. So just be very careful with what you say, how you say it, how you address certain things. Just be very mindful of it. And I did tweet. It's funny because the Five of Swords is here, and I tweeted that you need to read everything 5 times before responding, count to 5, count to 10 before responding if you need to calm down first. Make sure that you are understanding everything clearly before you go ahead and respond to it, and make sure that the response is something that's necessary, so just be very careful with your communication, especially with your loved ones. With the experiencing card being here also, I feel like a lot of you feel kind of like blocked, or you feel kind of, what's the word here? I guess the best way I can describe it is that you feel like you can't experience life. And I'm hearing that a lot of you, this has to do with the weather. I feel like this could have to do with just you feeling limited in life in general, but that's on a larger scale. Like you feel like you don't have enough money, or you want to travel, you want to do more activities, and you feel like you can't because there are certain blockages and obstacles in the way. That's on a larger scale. But on a smaller scale, I'm seeing that a lot of you, it's actually the weather. It's literally that small of a message that's coming through. Well, that's not really small, because the weather can affect your mood and can affect, your mental health. So it's not really that small. But for some of you who are living in colder climates, and the winter has just been really taking a toll on you, thankfully you're coming out of that in March. We are going to be seeing nicer weather, warmer weather. I'm not sure where a lot of you are located, so this message is going to obviously differ for, depending on where you live, but I am seeing like a change of clothing, meaning a change of weather, meaning it's going to actually help your mood. Some of you don't really realize how much the weather has been having an effect on your mood until you start to come into warmer weather, or the weather starts to improve. Then you're going to see how much better it makes you feel. I'm also seeing that for a lot of you, you have not felt grounded. You felt like kind of, what would the word be? Up in the air. Like you don't feel like you're connected with reality, which is very interesting for an earth sign. I feel like that can be somewhat traumatic for an earth sign, actually, because earth signs like to feel grounded, like to feel like safe, secure. Some of you may need to work on your root chakra. You may want to look up the symptoms of your root chakra being imbalanced, or your root chakra being imbalanced. I know that some of the symptoms just off the top of my head would be like just feeling extremely stressed out all the time, like you're always in your head, you're always like hyper vigilant, like thinking about the next thing that could go wrong. Of course, it can manifest as headaches. It's basically not feeling safe, not feeling secure, not feeling stable. And this could be for multiple reasons. Most of the time it's finances, like you're not feeling safe based off of like finances, or like your home security. Like if your house or your home doesn't feel secure, it's easy to not feel grounded, especially if you have grown up in an unstable environment where you never felt secure in your home, you never felt safe in your home. It's easy to continue on with this energy even after you move away from home. It's like this constant feeling of not being grounded, not feeling safe, not feeling secure, not really knowing what's going to happen next, and being very fearful about something bad constantly happening. So yeah, I feel like some of you need to do some root chakra work, and I'll leave a link to that in the description box down below, so you can read up on that. I know that some ways that you can ground yourself would be like going out to the park and putting your feet in soil, and that could be why a lot of you are not feeling grounded, because if you are living somewhere where it's a cold climate, it's hard to go out in earth. It's called earthing, where you put your feet out into the earth, into the soil. I do it all summer long. Like I'm always at the park, feet in the ground, feet in the earth. It's just something that just makes me feel a million times better laying out in the sun. So I can heavily relate to this energy. But yeah, I feel like as the weather gets warmer, you'll be able to ground yourself more. Your mental health is going to improve, so you'll be able to, you know, make clear plans about your future, which also could be a sign of being ungrounded, is that you just can't make clear, decisive plans about the future. You're constantly worried about the future. And I feel like with the weather change, or with some of you just starting to improve and heal in the month of March, you're going to be able to have a more clear mind, and you'll be able to plan ahead more, and that will make you feel more secure and make you feel more grounded. So that's that. So let's move on to the next two cards. We have the Page of Cups and we have the Friendliness card. This is your blockage for the month of March. So with the Page of Cups being here, okay, something weird just happened when I picked up this Page of Cups card. It's like my mind drew a blank, and I'm hearing that that's how some of you are feeling. That's the representation of this page card. Like, in the month of March, it looks like there could be a blockage in terms of being able to make a decision about something that you wanted emotionally, something that you have been offering or you have been trying to get going, is what I'm hearing. Like you've been trying to put the ball in motion, and it has to do with something emotional. It's not like well, it could be like a goal. Goals can be emotional, but I feel like this is more so talking about a person or a connection, with the Friendliness card being here. I need to clarify that. 1 second. Let me put one card to clarify. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so the Ten of Swords is here. I don't like that card. The Ten of Swords is here with the Page of Cups, Friendliness card. Oof. This is a blockage, meaning that this could talk about a past situation that involves some sort of betrayal, or it involves you. It's kind of like you having an epiphany about past betrayals, past heartache, past pain. It's like you are realizing something about those situations. That this is a good thing though. It actually, wow, loud motorcycle outside, what the hell. Okay, this is a good thing though, because it actually is telling me that you're having an epiphany about why those things have happened and how you can avoid them in the future. Of course, sometimes betrayal and heartache and pain, it can be avoided. I mean, sometimes that's just the nature of having a connection with someone. Sometimes you miss the red flags, or sometimes people just fall short because they're human and they make mistakes, and it's not always malicious. But yeah, it's like it's sometimes inevitable, but sometimes it's preventable. And I'm seeing that you are in the month of March realizing some of the ways that you can prevent these things from happening. And when you discover that you can prevent these in certain ways, then it's easier for you to connect with people. So that's a good thing. But I feel like it's coming up in the blockage because some of you are not realizing how to prevent these things. That's why it's coming up in the blockage. So basically, let me reword this so it makes sense. Basically, in the month of March, you're being asked to reflect on past betrayals and past situations, and understand and realize that some of these things can be avoided for the future, so you don't have to be so fearful of connecting with new people. Like sometimes when we experience heartache or we experience pain and things of that sort, and we feel like we can't handle it because of the fact that we feel like it can't be avoided, or we can't deal with the outcome of it, that's when we'll close ourselves off. And I tweeted about this earlier as well. I basically said that when we have a plan to prevent something, and then we also have a plan of how we're going to recover if things go wrong, it's easier for us to take a leap of faith and not have so much fear. So for example, if you've been in relationships where you've been betrayed, you could feel like, okay, I don't want to get into any more relationships, connections, friendships, anything. Like, I don't want it. I know how it's going to end up. Like, there's a lot of fear that's surrounding that, right? If you have a prevention plan, meaning that you say, okay, how do I prevent these things from happening? I can get to know people more slowly, You know, I could, you know, take things more slowly before emotionally attaching to them. I can make sure that I am meeting, you know, their loved ones and seeing how they behave with them before I get emotionally attached. I can see how they behave when they're angry, how they behave when they're sad, not just how they behave when they're happy and trying to impress me. Like, those are preventative measures, right? Even those things itself can make you feel a little more secure about, you know, diving into a connection or starting a new connection, right? So you have the preventative plan. Then you have the recovery plan, meaning what will you do if you are betrayed or if something does go wrong with your connections. And you can think about, okay, a good recovery plan would be, you know, I have friends and family that I can come to and lean on for emotional support. I have a passion project or I have a creative pursuit that I can put my time, energy, and effort into. So these things, you know, you can fall on or you can fall back on if something were to go wrong. And that's not to say that you need to be fearful of something going wrong, so you're planning ahead. It's more so just knowing that you can handle something will make it easier for you to dive into it more fearlessly. You see what I'm saying? So having those preventative measures and having those action or recovery measures that you know that you have, then it's easier to dive in. Now, if you don't take preventative measures, like for example, you don't take things slowly, you do just dive head first and you emotionally attach to people without really knowing them, then yes, you should be fearful because that can cause a lot of damage. And if you do not have a recovery plan, meaning, you know, you're isolated, you don't have friends and family to fall back on, you don't have a creative pursuit, you know, your whole life is revolved around this person or around this connection, then yes, you should be fearful, because then if that person does do some bullshit or betrays you or does something and leaves or whatever, then you have no way of recovering in a healthy way. So of course you're going to be afraid. So if you have, like I said, preventative measures and action plans, then it'll be easier for you to dive headfirst into, well, not headfirst, but to slowly walk into new connections is what I am seeing. So that may be something you need to reflect on in the month of March. The next two cards out are the Eight of Swords, and then we have the Aloneness card. This is the advice card for you. So the Eight of Swords in reverse talks about getting out of your head. This is just a repeat message of what I was saying earlier about getting grounded. So it's about getting out of your head, not allowing your fears, your doubts, your worries, and just really intrusive thoughts to keep you stuck and keep you imprisoned. For some of you, you're really needing to get out of the house more or spend time with other people more to help you to get out of your head, because being in hermit mode and being in your head is not going to be necessarily good for you in the month of March. I feel like it has served you well. Being in hermit mode for a lot of you, and for those of you who don't know tarot, hermit mode is the hermit card. Well, hermit is a word that people usually comfortable with or familiar with. So, but just to explain from the tarot perspective, the Hermit card is the Virgo card. So it's the card of kind of going into your cave and hibernating, you could say, going to seek out wisdom within yourself, but you needing to do that alone. And usually we go through hermit mode when we go through some sort of painful situation, we get betrayed, or just some sort of drastic life shift where we need to just be alone to recover. And that has served you well because that has helped you to become more independent. I will say that some of you have become much more independent because of the fact that you have been in hermit mode, but you're being asked in the month of March to come out of hermit mode and to reconnect with people, get comfortable being around people again, because at this point hermit mode is just keeping you stuck mentally. It's keeping you in your head. You're alone too much to the point where you're analyzing too much, and it's making you feel very unsafe. It's making you feel ungrounded, and it's no longer serving you, is what I am seeing. So we are going to extend this. Actually, I'm going to pull a card quickly for outside energy, like the outside energies that you may have to deal with in the month of March, because of course we are not on this planet alone. So there are going to be outside people or outside situations that are going to influence our energy. So let's see. Oh boy. Okay. So the outside energy, I pulled the Lover's card and I pulled the Knight of Cups in the reverse, both cards in the reverse. And the Lover's card was coming out in the reverse earlier too, so I'm not really shocked. I feel like this message is, I kind of hate when negative messages come through, but it's not really negative. I mean, I guess if you're watching tarot and you're looking for guidance, sometimes negative messages, it would make sense to come through if you're looking for guidance. But the Lover's card in the reverse, I'm getting the energy of a very strong soul connection. Soulmates are not always romantic. Like, love readings are not always about romantic love. There's other forms of love. There is love with friends, love with family, sibling, children, cousins, love of your job. Like, you could love your career, you could love your soul path or your soul mission. Self-love, it could come up in this, but this is like a disconnect from a very strong emotional bond, and someone no longer having the strength to give to this bond. With the Knight of Cups being here, it's like someone, okay, I'm hearing that it's not even, it doesn't even have to be not having the strength, but it could also be just knowing better, is what I'm hearing. I know better than to give to this because I know there's no return on this investment. I feel like this is you. I feel like this is definitely you, without a doubt, because you're coming up as the King of Pentacles here. You're wanting a return on your investment. You're realizing that you've been investing in things that you're getting no return on. You've been investing your energy, you've been investing your money, you've been investing your time on something that's not giving you a positive return. It's just depleting you. It's like investing in a company that's flopping, but you're continuously investing in it. I'm not talking about entrepreneurs, don't worry. I'm not saying your company's a flop, stop investing. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about investors, like, you know the show Shark Tank, where these investors hear these people's sales pitches, or the entrepreneurs like pitch their company to these investors, and the investors decide if they want to invest money into it. They have to hear the story first, or they have to hear the business first. They have to hear the numbers. They have to hear like which direction they want to take the company in, and then they decide, okay, am I going to get a positive return on my investment? Am I going to make money off of this, or am I just going to invest money into this and then the company's going to tank? Basically, think of it that way. That's kind of like an analogy for love connections, or things that you've been emotionally invested in. It's like you have been investing into companies that have been tanking, and you're no longer wanting to do that. You're wanting a positive return on your investment. You're wanting the love back. You're wanting the fulfillment back. You're wanting the passion back. You're wanting an equal opportunity here. Like, you're wanting to give and receive, and so you're no longer giving to things where that doesn't have the ability to give back to you, is what I'm seeing. So we are going to dive more deeper into that message in the extended video. So I'll leave the link to that in the description box down below. I am going to upload it onto Vimeo. I've been selling through, I think it's called Selfie or Selfie, because Vimeo has been doing something weird, but Vimeo is back up and running, so I'm selling it through Vimeo, so it'll be much easier. I know some people were kind of confused about Selfie or Selfie. Yeah, I wish I could make the extended free more often. I made the self-love video free, so I wish I could make them free more often, but you know, this is my full-time job, so I will try to make them as affordable as possible. I am still trying to figure out the ins and outs of having like a subscription plan where you could just pay a one-time fee for all of the extended. So I may start that in the month of March, so that it can be a bit more affordable. But yeah, so I will extend this. We'll go more into the outside energy, and then we'll pull some do's and don'ts cards for the month of March. So yeah. Thank you for watching this reading, and I'll leave the link to the extended in the description box down below. And yeah, I'll see you over on my Vimeo channel.